day, 50 senators is 50 senators. Holy fuck. That's a difficult composition to work through.
No, I'm not. What do you mean?
No. My point wasn't that you could get Manchin to change his. My Manchin didn't even run for re-election. He left the Democratic Party. He was independent when he retired from the Senate. Like, I don't know that there's.
I kind of feel like this, right? You know how so in Apex Legends, right? So in competitive Apex Legends, does anyone know Imperial How from Apex Legends? Does anyone? No glasses today. No glasses today. I got my, yeah. So. So Imperial How, okay, from God, what is this team called? Fuck. So basically, there is this tendency in Apex games where after you lose a game, let's just say you had a bad game and you lose the game, it's called it's when hindsight is 2020, right? Where you tell yourself, oh guys, we shouldn't have gone the left tunnel, we should have gone the right tunnel, right? Or we shouldn't have like done we shouldn't have done we should have picked up the loot there because we could have died there. Or it's a flaw that we could have. Well, here's the thing, at the time you didn't have the available information. You made the best decision possible in that state in order to facilitate the best outcome, right? In that specific scenario, right? In Apex Legends, especially competitive Apex Legends, there's a lot of like situations where you're being pushed to make incredibly hard decisions, in the moment, in the fraction of a second, right? It's kind of like the same thing with politics, right? You are given a limited amount of time to make a change. All right, you have 50 senators, and you have to try to convince Joe Manchin to get on board with you, right? Because he is that one deciding vote, and he revels in that deciding vote, and he knows how much power he has, right? But the thing is that at the moment you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, shit, wait, hold on, give me a second. We do actually need to convince we do actually need to convince Joe Manchin in order to do it, right? But then maybe in hindsight, maybe it wasn't a good idea. Maybe the downstream effects of trying to convince Joe Manchin to be more reconciliatory towards you or whatever the fuck is downstream not so good, right? Then yeah, in that case, it would be unfair. It would be unfair for you to be so harsh on yourself to say, yeah, you know what, I should have not catered to Joe Manchin because you didn't have all the available information at the time. You made the best decision at the moment to achieve the best outcomes at the moment, given the circumstances and the time allotted to you. Right? This is why every single time lefties or I'm assuming this is what Vanguard is doing here. That's what I'm assuming, okay? Someone correct me. But what I'm assuming they're trying to do is that they're trying to do lefty theory crafting, right? They're trying to do post ad hoc theory crafting. And I noticed that this happens a lot with not just in terms of Vanguard, but it also happens with Straighter Raid versus Hutch. When Straighter Raid was debating Hutch, I noticed what was happening was that Straighter Raid was essentially post ad hoc theory crafting, okay? In my opinion, again, post ad hoc theory crafting is fine, but you shouldn't say, oh, they ought to have done this, they ought to have done this. Because I feel like no matter what the outcome would be, lefties will always find a reason to be displeased at it, right? Because hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is literally 2020, right? That's where the statement came from. Hindsight is 2020, right? Because you can't after a bad event has happened, you can't just say, yeah, you know what? This shouldn't have happened, or whatever the fuck. It's just silly. Yeah, anyway. That's why these hard lefty types, it's weird as fuck. Yeah, because they always, because then they can argue from the viewpoint that they're just correct on everything when they aren't, right? Right? Because then they can always feel like they're correct, because they can always go, well, they should have done this then the Democrats should have done this. Well, have you ever considered that maybe, given the time allotted to the Democrats at the time, that maybe they really need to get a bill passed within a certain period of time, but it's not like they have an infinite amount of time to actually do something like that? Maybe just consider for a moment just some sympathy for some people who are stuck in the moment.
Substantially anything that you could have done. I think to the Vanguard's point, there's probably something to be said about at least the appearance of giving a and trying.
Which was a huge part, which by the way was a huge thing that led to Trump's re-election, was the fact that everyone felt like Joe Biden was asleep at the wheel, that he was feckless, that he was too old to.
Yeah, but it's because of dipshits like you that amplify talking points on the right. At what part was it was literally just because of that one debate performance, or because people didn't like the way that he spoke. At what part was he asleep at the wheel? tons of fucking legislation. We 2x'd the expectation on the vaccine delivery initially. That American Rescue Plan fucking filled the coffers of every single state in this country. It was fucking insane. There was so much money, people were arguing that they didn't even want to take it all, right? We saw it in the Kerr County shit. We had all of the fighting for the student loan forgiveness, which I thought was even fucking retarded. Like, this idea that...
Oh, yeah. Another thing that I think about all the time is the Biden debate thing, right? I believe, like, again, this is why I don't think you should ever criticize the Democrats out in the open like that, right? Because by buying into like Republican talking points, you are playing their game, okay? They don't play the same game as you, because I promise you, if Trump had, you know, the worst fucking debate of his life or something, Republicans would still be coping for him. Like, they would literally still be coping for him. And that kind of happened with Kamala Harris, right? Like, Kamala Harris had a fucking debate with Donald Trump, crushed Donald Trump, right? And then Republicans were still coping for and still covering for Trump, right? But the thing is that we couldn't cover for Biden now. We couldn't cover for Biden. Maybe that is exactly what lost us the fucking election. Have you like considered maybe that's why like the election was lost at the time? Like, fuck me, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. It already happened. Yeah, exactly. But it's an example. Like, that is whatever. I mean, like, you can say that I'm like post ad hoc rationalizing as well, because, you know, it's Trump literally won the election already or whatever, right? But you also have to consider the fact that this happens time and time again. This isn't just like a one-off thing. This is a pattern of behavior in which we can draw inferences from at this point, right? Like, fuck, it's a very tragic tale in my opinion. Like, it's not like you know, like, fuck, we're stuck with Trump as president. Why? Well, fuck, maybe because our messaging is in fact flawed, and they're not playing the same game as us, right? Like, they're not, you know, they have clearly the advantage here.
Just
anyway.
Nothing was going on.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid. We had our big CHIPS Act. Like, Trump talked so long about doing something about China, didn't get fuck all done except for random bullshit shit talk. And then we have the CHIPS Act that actually got some big plans to start up in the United States. We had the Infrastructure Act that Trump talked all 4 years about, couldn't get shit done. And we actually got this done on a 50-50 Senate. 50-50 Senate. And we got all this shit done. Largest investment in green energy in the history of the United States on a deficit neutral bill. Because all that green energy, I think, came through on that Inflation Reduction Act. That was a deficit neutral bill for the Democrats. Like, strongest economy in the G7, best performance for inflation of all these other countries. Like, we did a really good job. 50-50 and a 50-50 Senate. And they're like, he didn't do anything. He was asleep at the wheel. What? Because he wasn't tweeting every day? Because he wasn't on fucking Truth Social, like spamming with insane fucking shit constantly? We felt like we didn't have a president? Is that what we need?
To whip his own caucus into line when it mattered.
Yeah,
that's why he lost. That's why we have
Trump.
Trump.
That
Joe
doesn't
Biden didn't
mean
even fight
anything.
for the American people.
No,
What you're saying doesn't mean anything. When you say something like,
Wait,
just use the bully pulpit.
what do you mean it doesn't mean anything?
When you say just use the bully pulpit, you're not suggesting anything.
Wait, no. He just said something very specific. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, here's what I was gonna say, because this is my point, Hutch, right? Like, I don't want to miss the forest for the trees just because we want to like have good fireworks show for the audience, which I'm totally into, by the way. We're all crushing. But the reality is that the point that we're making, and I think Okada Boy, I thought you laid it out extremely well, right? The American people do not believe that the Democratic Party is full of fighters, right? Gavin used the term asleep at the wheel. The reality is that the reason they couldn't get Kamala Harris or Joe Biden across the finish line was because they did not even try to whip.
It's because the media sucks. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Like, you guys are fucking insane. These are just insane takes. Dude, I hope that in 5 or 10 years, you can have all these people. Let's do like a retrospective on the accomplishments in office of these presidents. And like, compare Trump term 1. If you want to talk about an asleep at the wheel president, Trump fucking got nothing done. This guy came in as an actual fucking cult idol. This guy shuffled through so many cabinet members. His midterm was, Trump did the whole Roy Moore shit was in 2018, right? Yep. And the whole Steve Bannon shit, all of the people in his fucking election campaign staff or whatever getting arrested, people like Manafort and shit, this guy was around that were getting arrested, convicted of insane crime. Like, there was so much crazy shit going on around this guy. And all he got was a tax bill done, a temporary tax bill. Like, this is the guy who we're saying who like was super fighting for the American people all the time. Give me a break. It's so crazy.
Votes in West Virginia, from West Virginia.
We
Right? They didn't
really
even try
lost the
to
narrative
say, okay,
now.
we're going to go down
They
to
didn't
make it feel like they cared about $15 an hour. No one even knew that. You think any of those voters in West Virginia even knew that Biden gave a fuck about $15 an hour? No, because he didn't.
They didn't give a fuck about 15 an hour. They don't care. They're fucking conservatives. It's West Virginia, bro. What the fuck?
That's the problem. He never even.
He's like, this guy unironically like, no, bro, people in West Virginia would love Medicare for all if you just like, but it's manufactured consent.
even knew that. You think any of those voters in West Virginia even knew that Biden gave a fuck about $15 an hour? No, because he didn't. That's the problem. He never even pretended to care, other than to get a few suckers' votes.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Does everybody agree here that generally speaking in the modern era, what the American voters typically do is if they give a trifecta to a particular party, they take it away 2 years later?
Yeah, like people in West Virginia don't give a fuck about that.
Doesn't do anything. That's why. If Biden had actually done what he should have wanted to,
I'm just giving you this is what happens with voters, right? So in that time when a president,
not just as a
when a
national
president is inaugurated,
Is he not allowed to? This guy, just remember, okay, was literally like, I can't hear when you, if you're gonna keep cutting me off, I can't hear. I can't hear when you do that. You're gonna keep cutting me off because I can't concentrate. You're gonna keep cutting me off. I can't hear when you do that.
Wait, what reference is that?
Fuck. What timestamp was this? He actually cried about it. There were tears. Fuck. Fuck. What did he say? I can't.
Cried about it? Like,
do you know who Joe Biden is as a politician? Because if
Do you
Joe
know
Biden
that-
actually
listen,
been in, if he
hold on,
actually
can
been in
we-
office when he, are
can
you
we
going to
just-
finish the point?
okay, sure, go ahead.
Okay, because I can't focus with that either way. If you actually knew who the politician Joe,
This is what happens with voters, right? So in that time when a president,
not just as a
when a
national
president is inaugurated, they know they're on a ticking clock and they only have a couple years to pursue as much legislation as they can get done. And to Josiah's point, but you may not like the final version of those bills, but Biden was legislatively the most successful president of the modern era since like LBJ. Now you want to like quibble about like $15 an hour. Would it have been better if he spent more time on a useless fight?
but you're talking about this like one re-election though.
but dude, Biden pushed for so many things. But the reason people don't talk about them is because, like, we fucking lost the propaganda war. We were going by fucking Republican talking points every single time we try to, like, talk about Joe Biden, right? Like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, fuck. We actually, like, just fucked up big, like, on motherfucking, like, talking points and shit. It's actually insane. And, yeah, and I bet a lot of it is actually, unironically, Russian bots. Fuck.
Talking about this like he runs
Virginia
real
senator,
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
it have
do
been
think
better
so.
to just get done what he could get done before
that
he
fucked
loses
up.
Congress? Like that's the argument. You can't simply say vaguely. You can't simply say like just go to West Virginia, send AOC to West Virginia. Who gives a fuck?
Have you not seen she's been on a Fight the Oligarchy tour and it's been massively successful? Let me talk.
Massively successful? What? Because she has audiences? Does that mean I could run for president because I can go to Texas and fill up a fucking bar? What do you mean massively successful? You're saying that Biden, listen to what he just said. These guys just said it. Listen to this again. They said that Biden wasn't successful because he lost his reelection. But AOC is massively successful because she can bring an audience to a place?
You're talking about this like he runs
Virginia
real
senator, wouldn't it have been better to just get done what he could get done before he loses Congress? Like that's the argument. You can't simply say vaguely. You can't simply say like just go to West Virginia, send AOC to West Virginia. Who gives a fuck?
Have you not seen she's been on a Fight the Oligarchy tour and it's been massively successful? Let me talk.
Massively, yeah. Did we beat the oligarchy?
For 1 second about this, guys. I was just in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma doing a segment for the Vanguard where I went to one of the Fight the Oligarchy tours, right? You guys ever been to Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Wait, this isn't the guy that I talked to, right? I talked to a different guy, right? From the Vanguard?
Never.
No.
Okay, it is not exactly liberal country, okay? It's not the kind of place where they're tuning into podcasts that are woke. Okay, guess what that room was filled with? It was filled with people who wanted to see socialism. They loved AOC, and they were union guys that were fixing airplanes.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm so
My entire family is blue blood Dems. I live in MA. Everyone around me has always been and still are Dems. They all don't like Biden, and it's because of the debate. Swear to God. Well, yeah, it's also because of the rhetoric surrounding the debate as well, right? Like people weren't pointing out, fuck, like the bar has lowered so much. People were focusing on the vibes of the debate when they should have focused on the fact on how many times like Trump has fucking lied, right? I think there is completely a reality out here where Biden won the fucking election over Donald Trump if the messaging was better and we didn't cater to Russian bots, right? Like I 100% believe that. We missed out on that reality, dude. We are in the worst timeline.
curious. Tulsa is in
that's what that
district? Because this is like a big city for Oklahoma standards, right? Oh fuck, it's not blue at all. Damn, that was a hell of fucking red. Tulsa electoral district. Wait, is this isn't what I'm looking for? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Fuck me.
His interview with Peter is great. Who?
It's 41.3 to 56. Yeah, even that's pretty red. I thought that there was
The lab exhibit? Oh,
wait.
I don't know anything about that. Sorry.
How many states were completely red? Was it just this one?
You fuck this lightning move.
Remember that one, the meme picture of the like Massachusetts versus Oklahoma for the completely red state versus the completely blue state? That was a yikers. That was a yikes one.
They were farmers, they were teachers, there were tons of indigenous folks that showed up. Oklahoma has a huge indigenous population that's underrepresented. If you were to ask a pollster like Ezra Klein, he would tell you not to waste your time in Oklahoma. But you know what Bernie Sanders said to those people? He said, I do not want to be a part of a government that sees red and blue states. I want to be a part of a government that leads, that delivers for the American people. When I went to the U.S. Senate, I said I was going to stand up for the United States of America. That's what I'm here to do today. And people were losing it, man. They couldn't believe that somebody actually showed up for them. You're telling me that if you put on national television, Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Kamala Harris, Beto O'Rourke, take your pick, famous people, Gavin Newsom from the party, they all show up to West Virginia, whoever it is that you can get. I'm not saying all these people would agree, but a lot of them would agree because everybody loves to have their picture taken with the president, and they would have shown up, and it would have been a huge event, and it would have shown the American people that Joe Biden was going to fight for them. Sometimes optics matter. That would have been a time that optics matter. I'm not saying it would have worked. I'm saying the American people would have been like, yeah, Joe, thank you for showing up for us, which you've never done over the time you're president.
You need Manchin. It's in a 50-50 Senate. You need Manchin's vote for literally every single piece of legislation that you want to get done. And you're...
Can we get these guys to be so unhinged that they're like, well, maybe he could start primarying Republicans. Maybe he could bully pulpit Republicans.
Saying that the very first thing he should have done is gone to civil war with Joe Manchin and threatened the primary because we didn't get one particular provision
Is that not what
in
Trump
ARP.
does with the defectors in his caucus? Like, is that not?
Do we really want to emulate? Like, do you?
No, Hutch shouldn't have even gone there. You should just say Trump doesn't have a 50-50 Senate.
You want a Republican to get Democratic?
Well, wait a minute.
Personally,
I think that.
Fuck, now I really want Destiny to watch the debate between Hutch and Straight Raid. Fuck. That would be so fucking based.
I think the point. Well, wait a minute. I think you got to address this, and it goes all the way back to. I've been spending the last 30 minutes trying to look for what Pisco had to say about Mike Johnson's first vote, and I can't find the damn thing. That motherfucker. There's nothing on it. Fuck you, Pisco. But listen, I think it allies to the point that they're making, which is it doesn't matter if you want people to emulate Trump or not. They're making the case that it is possible for presidents to bully their parties into line.
Yes,
I want you to deal, Hutch. I do want you to deal with the Trump example. Either refute it or say yes, but that's Trump.
No, you can do it. You can bully people.
No, he blocked me.
But it has to be realistic.
Actually, fuck it. Fine. I'll try to get like a fucking. I'll try to get a fucking unban request, okay, from Destiny, okay? Fucking fine. The only reason I'm doing this is so then I can send him like content, so then I can react to his reaction. All right, listen, it's a fucking. Yeah.
Like, this is so weird. Like, you can bully people to do things, but you have to have power. You have to have leverage to do it. Like, if you had like a 54-46 Senate or 53, 3-vote lead in the Senate, you can start looking at people and be like, all right, well, which one of you disloyal motherfuckers, right? Especially depending on the districts they hold in the states. But this is a factual conversation you have to have, not an emotional, conceptual conversation of like who can, fire off the most tweets or whatever.
Virginia. It's West Virginia. So I can I just have, I want to say.
No, hang on. Let's let Hutch respond.
Why are you flip-flopping when you were agreeing with me when we had the same conversation with Kyle Kristol? You're flip-flopping because your Vanguard boys are on the podcast.
Man, I'm about to roundhouse kick Pisco. He already has the beard off and take the mustache off the next time I see him. And then you and I, Hutch, listen, you're so tall, I'm going to kick the shit out of your ankles. Listen to me real quick.
See, Hutch, there's a W right there. I'm 5'7". So, if I've ever hurt your feelings, you just fall asleep at night knowing that
I know, man. Us short people. I know. He's like 6'4". I know. I agree.
Let me stop you. Okay. You go to war with Joe Manchin, you say, I'm going to primary you, block you. Hold on, hold on. I'm going to your mom, and I'm going to primary you, and we're going to replace you, okay? And he says, you know what?
You don't even know where her urn is.
Hold on.
And then he says, you know what? I don't like this at all. I'm an independent. You guys don't get the majority. That's that. What do you do?
Hard to bully Manchin. Hard to bully Milton. I want to agree with that.
What do you do?
Would you just let me get through the fucking thing? Just shut up, and let me get let me get through the sentence.
All right, Pisco wants to talk.
Shut up for a second. I agree with you that Joe Manchin was not bullyable. I want you to address the notion they brought up Trump. And I can't speak for Pisco.
Are you stupid? So the response, Manchin is not bullyable, is a response to your question is, why don't you bully? Okay,
that wasn't my fucking question.
Why don't you bully Trump and bully?
It literally was.
You're like,
yeah, we can go back and play the tape where I said your point elides theirs. I said they are saying that a president can theoretically bully a party. I want you to address.
Your videos have been write it out personally. I'll send it to him personally. Maybe he'll just block me though, Kek. Lynn, can you link me Icarus Beth's tweet again? I'll ask for an unban. Fuck it. I don't know, Lynn. Just fucking DM. Just I don't know. Just give Destiny a fucking random DM. Make it not cringe, please. Just say like, yeah. Foodshops promises not to spam you with Dark Souls 3 screenshots anymore.
What my position is, just because I think you guys are splitting hairs here, right? Because I think that it's fair to address what Hutch is saying, right? Which is the fact that Joe Manchin might say, "You then, I am eat a bag of dicks," and go
like, you don't want to copy Trump's electoral strategy from term 1. Trump was not a legislatively successful president. Even when he had majorities, he didn't really accomplish that much. So I don't know why you even think it's a good model. Like Trump, they're talking about, oh, well, Trump bullies people. Yeah, when he's got big majorities in both houses of Congress, but it's not very impressive. Like you want to copy these guys you want to copy the Republicans who couldn't hold on to their House majority seat for the first time in U.S. history. They couldn't maintain their House majority speaker position. Like, come on.
But here's the thing. The American people are tired of getting crumbs, right? They already expect you to kind of be like, okay, the Republicans beat us, blah, blah, blah. You have to find a way to win. So you get on, say you get on your infrastructure bill, right? You get Joe Manchin doesn't vote for it. Do you not see what Donald Trump has proven that you can do without Congress? You say, guys, give me 2 more years. Okay, or however long Joe Manchin had left.
Okay, well, that's a much different statement. If you want somebody to be like an authoritarian, then sure, but...
I guess,
But I think the ultimate problem is not...
The random cutout mid-segment? Oh, sorry. That's specifically because of Jay Stokes' fucking music copyright. I promise you that the most efficient way is to actually use YouTube's like auto edit for that, because listening to the entire thing on is that a fucking portal? Yo, this boss fight is actually sick as fuck. Many comments are pointing it out. Oh fuck. Fuck me, dude. Okay.
Not
shit.
so much
Biden's
treatment of Joe Manchin, but it's the fact that he didn't even seem like he cared about the politics.
But I'm just telling you, the most efficient way is to use YouTube's fucking edit. I don't know if there's anything that I can do. Fuck. Okay, you can use AI like Ryle. Oh fuck, maybe. Of course. Wait, does Ryle use AI to cut? No, he doesn't even cut. Like I'm pretty sure Ryle doesn't even cut. No. Also, Physis, take a look at my replies on Twitter. Okay, going back and forth with Ryle. Okay, based. Oh, hold on.
That's it.
We're talking about these policies that he's supposed to be fighting for, but no one even knows he supports.
It's not these policies that he's supposed to be fighting for. It's your pet projects because you're a rich white dude who doesn't give a fuck about anything else in this country. 15 hours, 15 hours, 15. That's all you think about. That's all you know about. Probably because you heard it fall out of fucking Bernie Sanders' mouth, and that's it. You don't care about policies or anything. You just care about 15 hours, I care about 15 hours, I care about, and maybe student loan forgiveness, but you don't bring that one up because Biden did fight a lot on that one. Like, that's it.
Like I said, he'd have a lot better chance of getting reelected and of being popular if people felt like he gave a fuck about this, if they felt like it was actually something on his agenda, not something that can conveniently hit the cutting room floor as soon as he runs into any sort of obstruction.
Like if Trump was so good about making people feel like he cared and Trump did all these things so well, why did he lose his election? Trump lost in 2021. Why do people always forget that? You know that Trump didn't win that election, right? So why would you look to Trump, who had 4 years and then lost, as the template for what we should be copying? This doesn't make any sense.
From his own party, and that's exactly how it felt. It felt like Joe Biden was more than happy to use that as an excuse to say, oh, sorry guys, what do you want me to do? The thing I promised to do is now on the cutting room floor because of these things that I knew would be an issue before I promised it. So it's like, why the f do you even promise it? Just to lie to everyone and get their hopes up?
Oh,
You knew this would be a problem.
If you didn't run on it, you'd be like, why aren't you running on it?
No, I'd rather he be honest. I genuinely would rather he be honest. I would. And I voted for politicians who aren't running on it. I voted for Kamala Harris, even though she was running on a bunch of shit that I hated, including going around talking about how all the #1 CEOs and corporation leaders in the company signed off on all of her stupid crypto policies and all her AI bullshit. Like, at least she was honest about it. I don't actually think that it's a good idea, though, to run for something or, win.
Did this person vote for Kamala? Or is he in a state? Is he live in California? He's like, oh, my vote doesn't matter anyway. I'm curious.
A primary based on these ideas, including a public option and a $15 an hour minimum wage, things that would substantially uplift America.
Oh, and he brought it up. At least he said public options on Medicare for all. You think that that's what Biden needed to do, was push for a public option and $15 an hour minimum wage? So what, he could have done nothing? He could have gotten nothing done?
Americans who desperately need it, and then immediately say, sorry, oops, some bullshit happened, and now I have to, throw you under the bus and renege on this promise.
You don't seem to fully appreciate the role of the Congress. Period. End of story.
No, like I just said, though, he didn't even try to make, like with various politicians that understand.
True. Like, that's it. Hutch is right. Like, this is this is an unserious conversation. This is for this should be like a kindergartner chat, whatever, that some school hosts. This is a deeply unserious conversation right now.
And this issue, they know that, and they build a pressure campaign to make it so that it's political suicide for you to oppose.
And then you just say like vague bullshit like this. Build a pressure campaign.
Usually you have to separate the background
do the bully pulpit pressure. Let's talk. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk people. Let's talk states.
Okay, we'll see.
We already said you can't bully Manchin, so who else?
You call him a convicted murderer.
If Manchin says no, what are you going to do? You're going to go to bully a Republican, or what is the pressure campaign? Pressure against who?
understand this issue. They know that, and they build a pressure campaign to make it so that it's political suicide for you to oppose his policy. Joe Biden didn't do that with the right policies. He did it with the wrong ones and bungled the ones that he was right about, like the Afghanistan war.
It wasn't even just Manchin. Like, Cinema was... Pisco, I know you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm going to be a bridge builder here for sure, 100%, because I'm going to yell in kind of both directions. On the one hand, you can't bully Manchin, but I think that there's a kind of lesson from the Inflation Reduction Act. Everyone said that the environmental policy that Biden was trying to push was dead in the water. They said it for months and months and months and months. The Inflation Reduction Act was a surprise for a lot of people, and I think give Biden some credit. I think that that's an incredible package in terms of the, well, now it's being diluted and somewhat destroyed by
But he
Trump
lost
and the
that
big
following
bill.
election, Pisco. That's the problem.
No, I
So did Trump.
agree with you. I think that's Biden's greatest failure is, and this
The
is where I'm
presidency
gonna,
has to be an 8-year project in the year 2025, is my view. So I think that if you
100%,
fail the first time with Joe Manchin, you have to dedicate your entire presidency to fucking him and replacing the seat.
100%.
100%. You just said you couldn't bully Manchin.
Whoa! So 100% on the notion. I don't know why you're so trigger touch. So first of all, I was defending that you can't bully Manchin, but
Why Hutch is not triggered? They just said something retarded. Why are people okay having? Oh man, what's the name for this fallacy? It's
I feel like if you really want to upset Ryle Kittenhouse, you do it by calling him old. No. What? Okay, never mind. I'm no longer taking like advice for how to roast someone on Twitter. Okay, listen. I'll just follow my own beat.
kind of like a gish gallop. People will say something wrong, you'll correct it, and then you'll move on to the argument, and they'll just bring up the wrong thing again. And it's like, I thought we addressed this. Hello? And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And then you go to the and then they bring up like the wrong thing again, and it's like, no, why do you keep bringing this up?
on the specific notion that the presidency is an 8-year project, that is 100% true. I totally agree with that. That's what I said 100% agree with. Hutch, do you have a problem with me saying I agree with that point?
Yeah, Ryle
Okay, cool.
Kittenhouse,
So,
yes.
just to be clear, I totally agree. You
He's
can't
going
really
back
bully,
and forth with me
Manchin.
right
You have
now
to
on
go
Twitter.
with
The primary him, that's why it's an 8-year project.
But I will say the following: to pretend that Joe Biden, and this is all coming out from reporting.
Wait, so do we primary Manchin or not? The guy who's not running again, that we all agreed that you can't primary. I'm sorry, I keep getting mixed up.
You have a problem with me saying I agree with that point?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. So just to be clear, I totally agree. You can't really bully Manchin. You have to go
You have to primary him,
a
that's
different
why it's
way.
an 8-year project.
But I will say the following: to pretend that Joe Biden, and this is all coming out from reporting, was engaged as he should have been on domestic fronts, is now proving more and more to be untrue.
Of
It
course.
appears
A
that
lot,
he,
yeah.
it appears that he outsourced domestic policy to Ron Klain. He had
what
minimal
you're
meetings
talking
with his
about.
cabinet.
Didn't even do cabinet meetings. Yeah, I was about to say that.
And so it's a systemic problem of Biden in terms of his failures as a communicator and his failure of engagement on the domestic front. And that is unfortunately a legacy that I do think has contributed to the rise of Trump. That's not to say, and I don't want to denigrate the good domestic agenda that was done. I think the Vanguard, I think, is what Biden did. He got tangible wins for the American people domestically in a way that other presidents didn't. I didn't hear you really to say that that's not true. I think you said it was like watered down. I think it's watered down because he was trying to build bridges where he could, but he did pass through some.
He's
historic
the
legislation.
only
I think you guys
Democrat that
would
can
acknowledge
ever be.
What
Yeah,
I'm saying he did. My problem is that he embraced bipartisanship in a way that
correct.
was totally detrimental in a time when he should have been fighting. I feel like what people
He embraced
want
it when he
is-
had to. He didn't, it was a divided government.
He embraced bipartisanship. What a fucking retard. With a 50-50 Senate, with 2 wild cards for the Democrats. Like,
He was doing bipartisan stuff. He had to do bipartisan stuff. What other
And
choice
guess
did he
what?
have?
The people said, we don't want you anymore. We want a guy that's going to go play hardball.
To be
So my
fair,
argument-
I do think it was Joe Biden's age made it basically he was unreelectable. Like I do feel he was so old, he was so in cognitive decline that like that ultimately had more to do with the way people voted
can't
for him than
use
like
any of
the
these.
Joe Manchin thing.
oh, so now this guy just completely switched up to a different argument. So now none of the other stuff mattered, and he said, actually, I think it was just because he's old, and the Manchin stuff didn't actually matter at all. So now we just completely switched to a whole different pillar?
To be
my
fair,
argument-
I do think it was Joe Biden's age made it basically he was unreelectable. Like I do feel he was so old, he was so in cognitive decline that like that ultimately had more to do with the way people voted for him than like the Joe Manchin thing. To be totally fair to Joe Biden, and I also think that if Joe Biden had been a younger version of himself, he would have been able to better communicate the wins that he did secure. Because that was another huge thing. The communications department in the last administration was just pathetic. They didn't brag about anything that they accomplished. Most people didn't even know what they accomplished, even though, as you mentioned a couple times accurately, they accomplished more than previous administrations had.
I fully agree with your. So, like, what's going on right now with the Democratic Party is they are just fully in terms of acclimating to this new paradigm of media. They don't understand the climate whatsoever. And so Biden did go out there and like visit like small cities in Michigan and Pennsylvania to celebrate, the impact of the infrastructure deal. But who the fuck was there? It was like C-SPAN with like 17